Welcome back to the Inside LAFC Max and Vince podcast. Before I go any further, Vince LaRosa, and I am Max Bretos. As you probably are abundantly clear on that, just want to invite everyone to subscribe to our pod. Rate and review. Leave a review right now. Go leave a review. I'll wait here, and then once you've sent the review in, I will continue to talk.
Oh, cool. Just take a break.
All right. Good? Did you leave a review?
Just a quick one. Just
a quick one.
Love it.
I love it. 5 stars. Bang.
Love it. Hate Vince.
Love it. Whatever you want to say. We don't care. We want that interaction. We want you to be part of it. But this is it. We're back once again, and not in the spirits that we had from a week ago, where we were really rip-roaring as LAFC took on New York City FC. This was the last game before a 3-week international break. You don't need me to say it, that obviously going off on an international break, you'd like to leave on a good note. So everyone walks out. Hey, they're still practicing, by the way. We have Mark-Anthony Kaye who will be joining Canada. That's the limit of our...
No.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Kim Moon-Hwan is going to South Korea. Cheeky Palacios
in Ecuador.
Brian Rodriguez.
To Uruguay.
If those happen. Yeah, the Copa America now is in serious doubt. We can talk about that later. But
you know what the Copa America reminds me of? You know the Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where the knight who keeps fighting and then gets an arm cut off and then goes, no, I'm not finished.
The Black Knight.
It's merely a flesh wound.
Yeah.
And
it's getting to that point.
Takes off both legs and arms, and it's still there wiggling, looking to fight. Which
That's
I respect.
Good shout. Yeah, respect that. Yeah, you got to love the guy's fight. That's a really good shout. Yeah, it's gotten that way where it's like, oh, it's fine. I mean, look, we have 2 hosts, so if Colombia has to pull out because everything that's going on, it's cool.
Brilliant.
Argentina. And then Argentina goes, hey, over here? You guys want to check it out over here?
It's pretty bad.
It's bad. And they're like, okay, well, maybe we go to Chile. And Chile's like, we're not doing so hot either.
Brazil, yes, yeah. Come on in.
Brazil not going to let any foreign visitors in for the foreseeable future. And we make light of it, but this is scary stuff. I mean, it's sad what's going on. Obviously, the vaccines rollout here has been great, but then you see other nations and they can't get anything.
From what I understand, they're getting the vaccine. They're not getting the vaccines we're getting. They're getting the Chinese version, which is not the first source of the vaccines, but they're getting shipped out very slowly. Yeah, which is troubling. They're trying to get the players to come to the United States in many cases to get the vaccines, and then the public back in South America aren't thrilled about that. But Brazil, and from what we understand, the big name players are going to be participating. I'm surprised. I figured some of them would say, you know what, like Lionel Messi, who says he's resting for this competition. It just shows how important it is to them, which is really remarkable and reasserts how great this sport is.
Well, it's sad because it is one of the most incredible competitions. Like the talent that is on display, the fact that, look, I'm okay with the World Cup going to 48 teams, but the fact that in Copa America, like almost every team has a big name player, some have 4 or 5, and they're all just going to play each other. That makes for a great competition, and so that's sad that we won't see Argentina, Chile. We won't see, a team like Peru that has a lot of talent, maybe not a household names, but they take on a Brazil team and they give them a scare a lot of times. So, yeah, it's a big bummer. If it could happen in the United States, I would go.
Short notice? Short notice,
but I would go.
They would have to do it like in a stadium, too. They were talking Florida. And then someone said, yeah, you couldn't do Orlando because of the Gold Cup. I go, why not? It's beforehand. Kind of leads that to it would have been a possibility to see that pulled off. But, I mean, that is kind of a naivete to say, hey, 3 weeks out or 2 weeks out. Hey, can we get these stadiums? Or, oh, yeah, we could turn the lights on.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, as much as the United States is, almost turnkey. Turnkey in the sense that you still need
not 2 week turnkey.
Yeah. You don't just show up the day of and go like, hey, we'd like to play in your stadium.
No, it doesn't work that way. Plus, they're like, why? What's in it? Let's give us some coin. So that was a hard turn. Good, because I really didn't want to go into the LAFC part of the show. Because look,
good because I was also laughing at you to start the show. You guys should see in like the 5-second countdown how many things Max does. Like turn off his phone, move over here. Like you got a lot done in 5 seconds. Imagine if you employed that in the rest of your life. Much you could get done.
This is my life.
I know.
It's constantly my
Max's life is crazy. I just
like
to watch
busy. So no travel this week because I would normally go Monday red eye to call some South American games.
Yeah, you run out of here to pack your bags to get on a flight to Miami.
Pretty much. Come back Friday morning. So did you have a nice weekend? Obviously, notwithstanding
An okay weekend.
An okay weekend.
Yeah, I still had a good weekend. I went for a run, did some things. Some people on Twitter got a little upset about some things that I said. I mean, they weren't
You were
bad.
on fire on there. Yeah. Stirring the pot on a Sunday of Memorial Day weekend.
The best part is, it's like I have no friends on either side. LAFC fans are not happy with me. Galaxy fans are not happy with me. Okay.
Well, part of you says because they were defending the Galaxy. They were like, don't you hate the Galaxy? And you're like, no. And I go, I don't hate the Galaxy. I like the rivalry. I like to see where it's developing. I think we could improve the way we roll out the rivalry.
I like sports. Look, I've matured. I've grown up. I'm not going to base my whole personality on hating another sports team. I just can't.
Yeah.
I literally can't do that. I mean, I would get so fired up about results. Like there's so much other things I got going on in my life. So many, especially coming out of a pandemic. There's so many other things that like I've learned that are different. I love, shout out to the person that's like, yeah, you don't hate them because you're gonna want to go work for them one day. Yeah, that's right. Love that. I loved all that money I was making. Come on.
Your tag, your Twitter handle is LAFC Vince. So
Right.
I mean, that's what I'm going. Like, I work for LAFC and I wear the colors and I shout it out, and I get attacked a lot by the guys, pretty famously last season, mind you, and that's something I don't want to bring in. I'm very proud, and the LAFC is the only team at this point. Even Florida State football, I've diffused the emotions where I get disappointed when they lose. Obviously LAFC because we're so embedded with them, but it doesn't venture off to the other side where you're so critical. I go,
well,
look, I'm an open book. You can see what I support. I'm proud of who I work for, and I bleed those colors when they lose. I'm disappointed, but I'm not vindictive.
Well, I think we're going to go into a certain player that's getting a lot of vitriol thrown at them, and
we got to stem this a little bit.
Some of that is the point. Like, look, if you hate the Galaxy or you hate your rival, fine. I think I just look at it a different way. Having been on the inside and seeing the amount of preparation, I know that across town, Greg Vanney is doing the same amount of preparation and what goes into it, and then getting to know the players and knowing that they're human beings and things happen. Like, I can't put so much emphasis in being black or white binary on that because I know a little bit deeper about what these people go through. So no, I don't hate them. Like, I don't hate Chicharito. I can make jokes about him, but at the end of the day, like, if he walked in here, I'd be like, hey, nice to meet you. And he is an astounding football player.
Yes.
Like,
and a decent dude by and large.
And
when
a decent
see,
dude by and large.
This
So what,
connection.
like,
By the way, I did that with Zlatan.
So am I supposed to hate him?
I was at ESPN at that, and I was interviewing with Zlatan. He came to me. He was a lovely guy. I go, I'm not going to sit there. Hey, man.
Yeah, like even Zlatan, his stick wears old with me after a while. But I know that it's just stick. And it made a lot of people money, made him a lot of money. MLS, for as much as everyone was like, oh, I can't stand it anymore. Oh, they loved it. They loved it. Even when he walks off the field and grabs his junk, they loved it. You know that they clipped that, blasted it everywhere. Like, and it's just like, I see it all. And again, if that's how you want to run your life and you want to get fired up about those things, have at it. But just remember, there is a line.
I wanted to ask you more about your long weekend. I did go up to Los Olivos and Solvang a little bit with the lady. Had a wonderful time.
Yeah. You see the big horses?
Yes, had some a variety
where Santa Claus lives?
of Western European sausages that are on offer there. But I had a great time. But I think we're already into this LAFC thing. So let's get into it.
Solvang is where Santa Claus lives, though, right?
Yes,
That's where he vacations.
Yeah, it was these Danish settlers who created this. It's brilliant. I wish we all did this. We sort of do, but it's a little off the beaten path, and it's to create a wonderful family environment. And then you have the wine country next door. It's so close. I forget. I really didn't explore it as much as I have.
So
until this weekend.
Meat. It's all meat, pastries, and beer.
No, meat, pastries, and wine, and then beer.
Wine,
obviously,
okay.
Yes. But the local wines.
I just saw you with your big mug.
Yeah, they basically put two
Did you one of those
Carlsbergs.
competitions where you hold the mug out?
That was my only one, by the way, the big mug. They put two big Carlsbergs in there. They didn't.
You mean
pour it
that
out
was
of
the only
tap.
mug you used, but they kept refilling?
No, I just had it at the one.
Oh, okay.
That was Saturday morning, so I was coming down back to LA.
Gotcha.
And then I went back up. That's what I do.
He's like, it's so good. Turn back around.
Yeah. Well, it's Saturday. We were busy. We had some stuff to do. So,
watch this LAFC game.
Oh, before the LAFC game, a lot of folks upset at the stream, which broke down a lot. Which I got on a little bit and experienced it myself, and it does.
Yeah, Twitter not my favorite way to watch a game.
So that needs some work. So hopefully that gets fixed because the game should be accessible to everyone all the time, especially a game with LAFC, which is one of the major food groups in Major League Soccer. People watch it that aren't in LA.
Well, it's a cool idea, but if it doesn't work, then what's the point?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
And also, it's hard to take it from your phone. And let's say I don't have Univision, but I am at home. It's hard to get it from your phone to the big screen TV. It's weird to sit in front of my big TV like this. Or on an iPad. I mean, it's still not big enough.
I watch so much stuff on my phone now. It's bananas.
Yeah? You need glasses
I was watching
yet?
the Champions League final on my phone.
You watch the Champions League final on your phone?
And crying, actually tears in my eyes when Christian Pulisic came out. I could not control it. Isn't that weird?
Yes.
I was like, Christian Pulisic should have started this game. I can't believe Thomas Tuchel. Christian Pulisic should be starting this game from the beginning. Actually started crying. I had to put the phone down. I go, wait, my wife's like, what? I go, I don't know what just happened there. But I was overcome with emotion to see an American player taking the field of the Champions League final.
That's weird.
I don't know. I think I invested too much into it.
What if, like, in warm-ups, Ederson had pulled a hammy and Zach Steffen had started? Would you have been as teary-eyed?
Probably.
Okay. Just asking.
Ederson, on the goal, he handled the ball outside the area. He should have gotten a red card.
No. Let's settle this. Most goalkeepers would not get a red card for that.
Oh, okay.
It's a yellow. It's normally a yellow.
It's a yellow even if the ball goes in. If it's a goal, because it doesn't take it away, it's still the process. So you're right, it is a yellow.
Well, because it's a goalkeeper. Goalkeepers normally can handle the ball, and he's so close. Remember who was that? Who was that? Nashville at midfield. He had come all the way out. He had come out for a corner, then went to defend. Was it Joe Willis? And then somebody tried to chip him, and he just was like. That was just a yellow. Now I'll give you that. That might be a moment where a referee has to use a little bit of common sense to go, hey guy, you're this far from goal. You can't use your hands, and I know that you're using a little bit of a loophole here. I got to give you a red. But as close as he was to goal in the process of the play, I don't think it would have been red. I could be wrong, but I don't think it would have been a red.
I was getting a little romantic about the prospect of another American coming in and going, this is incredible. We've taken this game over. It belongs to us. It's ours.
What if Ederson gets a red and Pep's like, Fernandinho? He's got a great passing range. He could step into the mid. He could step into that. If you drop the center backs, he can kind of step in and.
Right.
I wouldn't put it past Pep.
Well, if he did that, then it would have been very telling, and it would have been an alarm bell for Greg Berhalter. I go, maybe we got to look for another option in goal because they're putting Fernandinho in front of him.
Oh, if I'm Zach Steffen, I find my phone.
Yeah.
And they get me out of here.
Well, he's got to get out of there anyway.
Probably. He needs minutes.
And for the national team, I'm sorry, we're going off all sorts of tangents. For the national team, we cannot have our starting goalkeeper playing 5 games a season.
Yeah. Because you can't tell me
No.
Look, I'm sure the training's great, but it's not game situations. No one would say that. I don't care how good Pep's training is. It's not a game.
I had this conversation on Twitter, which is obviously exhausting, and they say, people go, look, Zach Steffen needs to play games, or he really shouldn't be the number one keeper. I go, but he's getting great training with Pep. That's out.
Great training that he should use in matches.
In comparison, so Matt Turner, who's the other option, I would say, is getting games all the time with New England. What is more valuable? I'd say the games, 100% out of 100. But some people seem to think, and it's crazy, you need to play games.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the game. By the way, I do have the sticker for those wondering. Have you left a review yet? I have my sticker as I do on the visual element of the podcast, which you can see on 110 Football and on LAFC's YouTube pages. We highly recommend because the studio is glorious. So let's get into the game. LAFC losing to New York City FC 2-1 after taking the lead. Everything happening in the second half. The goals from Corey Baird. I'm going to get the minutes here correctly. 56th minute. Then Jesus Medina in the 71st. Mm-hmm. Tajuri Shradi wins it late on. Was it 85th, I believe? And
no, it was in the 90th.
It was in the 90th. Sorry, I have these numbers. I was trying to make these notes down.
85th is when he came on.
He came on. So, and that's an interesting point for me because on those keys to and I spoke all to the New York City FC media folks, and they're like, well, you probably will wear us down in the second half. I go, that's going to be one of my keys. Let's use the bench. Let's get control and then put them out where they're exhausted like we've seen in many other games. Well, I was dead wrong on that, and I'm going to blame my New York City counterparts for giving me that intel. I don't blame them because I thought that's what would happen. Instead, they bring a bunch of guys off the bench, and they were deeper than they have been. You know, Maxi Morales played. They brought in the young Brazilian Thales Magno, who didn't do much, but hey, you got him in, so now you got that behind you.
It was weird that he came in and then came off.
Yeah.
Obviously, it worked out. I mean, he came off for the guy that scored the winner, but
and then and Tajuri Shroudi comes off the bench and scores the goal. So they obviously got a little healthier since their last game, and the bench played a huge advantage for them.
Mm-hmm.
LAFC bringing in Latif for Sifu, Raheem Edwards, which is a bit of a departure. We played okay.
Still doesn't look fit.
Doesn't, but it didn't seem like that the pop off the bench was there. And this was a unique circumstance for LAFC because of the way the game was going. Danny Masovsky in the 87th to try and get a goal late for Eduardo Atuesta. So that was puzzling in that sense. People are going to be very frustrated about the fact that it's the same situation. LAFC playing well, not creating goal-scoring opportunities and not scoring. They did get the goal, and between the beginning of the second half, this is a liberal time situation, till at the 65th minute, LAFC looked fantastic. Almost as good as they have played this season.
Even for long stretches of the first half.
Yes.
There was moments where they had backed up. So New York came out and they decided to play with a back five, and I mean a back five. They
Which
played
is a departure from how they play.
Yeah, well, they've been playing with three off and on because James Sands has characteristics that allow them to do that. He's a great player, by the way. James Sands is either a center back or a defensive mid. I think he's probably higher ceiling at center back just because the way the game is going. To have a guy that can defend, he's pretty quick. Like he was winning foot races with Corey Baird. To be able to do that, but then also play those balls and those passes, that James Sands has that calmness about him. But they were defending so deep, and there was times I was writing in my notebook, like literally LAFC was passing from half space to half space, which basically is the new creative area for a lot of teams, because it allows you to then go wide. You can send a ball through to a guy, send a guy into the 18. You can do all these things. They were just moving it back and forth, and honestly, NYCFC they were holding on and thinking, all right, well, we've got Morales, we've got Medina, we've got Castellanos. Three very talented guys that on the break, if they get loose, especially 3v2, which a lot of times LAFC just had two back, we would love to have that. But man, they were getting run ragged because guys like Medina and Morales were like, I don't really want to come back and help make it a 5-3 or 5-4-1. And so LAFC was moving around, but the biggest criticism you can have is they just not a lot of shots. Not creating a lot of shots. I mean,
no,
they were creating a lot of advantages where they were finding good spaces, but then not getting a shot.
Thing, which is something we've said repeatedly on this, and it's frustrating. And I guess I don't want to steal your thunder because we were texting after the game, and I was like, man, this feels like another big step back, which it is because look, you're going into this break. You had this home game. LA Bank of California Stadium had been a fortress. It still is. It's you look at why is this the old Albert Einstein quote, was it the definition of insanity?
I actually
believe doing the same thing.
I believe that's been proven not to be an Einstein quote.
Okay. It's not Einstein.
Doesn't mean that it doesn't hold any water though, because it does make sense.
Right. And look, LAFC has a style, and they're going to keep playing the style, and they're going to do it. But to your point, it's what they have to do is it gets robotic. It gets like, all right, this is how we do to unlock it. And someone's got to go, no, okay, we got to try this.
Yeah.
And show a little personality and show something a little to throw some of these defenders off because they seem to know what's coming.
I can't remember what it was that you and I were on. I don't think it was a podcast. It might have been on Instagram Live where somebody asked, what's the one thing you want to see from LAFC next season? And I said, I'd like a few more match winners. Like, yes, Carlos Vela is a match winner. Diego Rossi on his day is a match winner. But after that, the list just falls, right? Like some guys that, and that doesn't just have to be goal scorers. Somebody that just is like, guys, absolutely today we are not losing. I'm grabbing this game, I'm scruffing the neck. I'm going, if I'm supposed to be in this area and somebody else is doing something over there, I'm going to go make that tackle. Or I'm going to go do this. I actually had a few times in my notes that Tristan Blackman, of all people, a few moments where like he was just like, look, I know that guy's over there, but I'm snuffing out danger over here. And that was good. Obviously, wished he would have been a little bit quicker on that near post corner, but that's kind of been the thing. Like, there's been a lot of guys that are good for long stretches of the game, and then there's like something happens to them. And I know that the big error is the pass out of the back, and people are losing their minds, and you say to yourself, could he have cleared it in that moment? Yeah, probably. I rewatched it again. Could he have even played it to Cheeky before bringing it back? Yes, of course. But then even watch the play even farther, and yes, the pass is bad, but I pointed out to you, I go, what is Jesus Murillo doing on that play? When Mark has the ball, he's standing on the 6. He's standing on the corner of the 6, which is fine when Mark has the ball. You're an option maybe, or if the ball comes right back in. And that was where the danger area was in that moment when Mark actually, again, made a great play to track back and get in front of Teus Magno, because that was going to be a prime goal-scoring opportunity. But he cuts that out. So Murillo's standing there, and then Mark tries to make that pass, and he's still standing there. And then the pass comes into Jesus Medina, and he's still standing there. And then by the time he gets to Jesus Medina, Medina's already shaped his body, and basically he's just providing a shield. So I understand the way people watch these games, and I get it. Like, your eyes are not deceiving you. You're seeing mistakes. But what I would say is, what other things are we missing? Like, why are teammates not responding to errors? And I think it's that bigger point. Like, why are we not getting play to play? There's going to be errors. And I understand that there's errors, but no one's picking each other up. That's what's really lacking for me.
And that sounds like a bigger deal, and that's something that really needs to be assessed, because there has to be that spirit. There has to be that helping along. Go, guys, I'm putting you on my back for the next 10 minutes. Right. We're getting this. And LAFC gets the payoff. We'll get back to that, the Jesus Murillo thing, because we saw it now, and it's, ball watching. It happens all the time in this sport, and it can be poisonous, really.
I mean, same with the corner.
Yeah. So
people are losing their minds. Like, they're showing. I've seen pictures of the corner before it's taken, and the guy's wide open in the back post.
Yeah.
I would say this: the chances of playing a direct ball to that player before either the team can shift over or just getting a ball right on that guy's head, very minimal. So you set up your defense in a way that you have to win that first ball. Now, you don't win that first ball, and again, you don't react. So it's like it's these dominoes, right? Like, win the first ball. Okay, we didn't react too. That's where it's going wrong. It's like you're compounding everything, and one of those things. I get it. Like, when things aren't going so well, no one wants to be the next guy in on that play, right? Like, no one wants when one guy dives on the grenade. Why would you want to dive with him?
Yeah.
But that's what a team is. You got to pick each other up, and you've got to adjust for mistakes. And it just seems like right now people are like, well, that guy made a mistake. What can I do?
We'll get to all of this as well, because there's so much here. And for us, it makes this podcast very intriguing. We wish we could be talking about a 3-1 victory or what have you. Just another thing about my keys that I had coming in is Carlos Vela, and what we saw in the Rapids game. It didn't evolve into that next step coming on. It looked, it looked a little bit closer to the Seattle performance, reminding us that he's not 100%.
Yeah, not totally fit,
and that's fine.
And he actually made quite a few runs where guys just didn't see him. There was a couple where I remember Sifu had the ball, didn't see the window, didn't play the pass, and for a guy that's not fit to have to be making those runs and not get the ball. I would say that after he had that opportunity, that you would say 9 times out of 10, Carlos Vela scores that goal, regardless of the way the ball bounced.
Played it across to Diego?
Yeah, it got caught in his feet a little bit, and then he saw Diego and was like, okay, well, this is a way I can get out of this, but just shoot it, Carlos. Like, Carlos...
And they got knocked from behind.
Yeah, so got knocked from behind. The Carlos that scored those 2 goals against Club America scores that goal.
Yeah.
Right?
And scores, doesn't look for the pass. He's like,
I'm scoring no matter what.
That was the telling moment for sure.
Right. It made him a little angry. He woke up a little bit, was like, ooh, and he tried to push a little bit more, but he's not fit.
He's not fit. So now he'll get a chance to do that, although he needs games to get to that ultimate Carlos Vela. So the next time we'll see this team play is June the 23rd. Our debut on Bally Sports.
Is it
Is it 13th?
19th.
Wait a minute. My notes are all off. I apologize. You can take away that review that you wanted to leave.
19th, 23rd is the midweek.
19th. The 23rd is the Dallas games. Is our debut, but we have the game on the 19th.
And the bank, for what we've been hearing, will be
full.
Well, doors are open. Come on in.
Doors are open. That's great news. So everyone's going to be able to do their part. Let's talk about LAFC doing the hard work to get the lead. The assist by Kaye to set up Corey Baird, who gets a goal. And then at that point, you're like, finish them.
Yeah.
Finish them. And that never came. And not really that many great opportunities to do it.
Well, here's our hockey tech. Line change, 65th minute. Bring on 4 guys. NYCFC goes, all right, this isn't working. We're 1-0 down. It's a Western Conference foe. We're on the other side of the country. Why not go for it? So he goes from his 5 back to, their standard kind of 4-2-3-1, and they push. And I wrote my notes. Anytime you see 4 changes, you're like, okay, let's see what happens here.
Yeah.
Because it might be a momentum shift.
We're in a crazy time of this sport where you see 4 changes.
Yeah.
That never was even possible until recently.
That's true, too. But it's one of those moments where you say, okay, either LAFC takes advantage of the 4 guys that are coming in here and they score a goal and they ride off into the sunset, or NYCFC pushes them and then they got to find a way to get their footing on it. So I wrote 65th minute, 4 changes. NYCFC finding a little bit more of the game. Mistake happens. And that's and then that was the heads dropped, mindset changed. And again, that goes into having a good team. There's going to be a push. They're throwing caution against the wind. How can you absorb and use that to your betterment? I mean, LAFC still did have some chances even at 1-1 before they scored that goal, but they weren't. It just seems like they weren't not prepared's not the word, but they just didn't seem to understand the moment. Like, hey, they're going to push you a little bit different. They're going to change things because they got nothing to lose. And they were kind of like, oh, but we were playing this game where they had 5 in the back and it was fine and we were just doing the things we were doing.
Yeah, look, that Ronnie Dila, who's been able to make that change and get that impact from him, that was really a stunning development for me. But I think that's a great point. As you see, you've got to be able to adjust. You still can play the game you want to play, but you've got to realize certain spaces are not going to be there that may have been, and those adjustments have to happen on the fly and quickly. And LAFC still is struggling with that. And right now, you see with opponents, they feel like the ball's in their court in many ways on how to play LAFC, and LAFC's got to take the ball back.
In the margins, right? So the opponents are like, man, 2019, we probably down 2-0 here. Well, it's only 1. Let's go for it.
Yep.
That's not the team that we used to see. So these errors are compounded by the margins, which goes back to the earlier point, which was we'd like to see some more shots. We'd like to see them creating a little bit more. The defense is actually fairly good. LAFC gives up the fewest shots on goal in the league, which is crazy. The problem is the shots that they're giving up are high-quality ones,
yes,
which is consistent, which was in my little thread that people – because I was like, hey, if I'm gonna do analysis on the Galaxy, I might as well do a little LAFC analysis, which I put in. It's consistent with what we're seeing. Errors are compounding into big chances. Not a lot of big chances, but big enough that they're scoring goals.
Yeah, and it doesn't make a lot of sense because we look at these stats, they're pretty tried and tested. Like when they come up with expected goals, you're expected to hit those goal marks, and they're not. Mm-hmm. And when you give that many few shots up, you're not supposed to give up these goals, and they are. I like to think that these things even out here at some point where it goes back to the science and the metrics where, okay, this is the way it's supposed to go, because those are metrics that people abide by because they're accurate. And it's kind of going against the grain with what LAFC is doing.
You sway between them. That's the bigger point, and that's the thing that maybe the Galaxy fans didn't understand that I was just trying to say was the probability is that things are not going to go well for you if you're continuing to give up the most shots in the league and also big chances on all those shots. Could you overperform your metrics through a course of season? Of course you can. It's technically a small sample size. Like I remember, I think it was a Stats Bomb podcast, and they were talking about their margin for error and their sample size, and the guy was saying, Tate Knutson, who's the head of Stats Bomb, he was saying, I talked to some of my friends in like the medical field, just because they talk, because they work in probabilities too, and he said they laugh at me because they're like, we would never act on the sample size that you guys have, because it's
thank goodness.
Because it's so thank goodness, especially when we're talking about pandemics and things. So it's because it's so small, but this is all we have, and I would say we're 20 to 25% in the way season. You're looking at LAFC and you're saying, okay, your metrics look like you should be better than they are, but if you continue to make big mistakes, it's not going to matter.
Yeah,
and then
they do.
Like I said, for the Galaxy, your metrics are looking not good. If this continues to trend that way or worse, I'd be worried about you. But right now, they're getting points, and it's not that big of a deal. Again, I'm just giving you the probabilities. Most smart football people would just look at those and go, okay, this might be a problem you want to look at, you want to assess, because that's how do you train your team. What do you think? What do you think? Bob just going to go out there and roll out the ball to Mark and go like, "This is what happened last game. Kick it out. Roll it to him 10 times. Kick it out. Kick it." No, you train the bigger points. You don't train the exact moment of what you did.
Well, let's talk about Mark-Anthony Kaye, because that was a big takeaway. And I remember I even tweeted, I go, Mark's doing really well. He assists the goal. He was tracking back repeatedly, getting possession and getting LAFC moving in the right direction. But some people are hell-bent on identifying him as the problem, whatever it is. And I was kind of floored here because I saw it really pouring down. I'm like, what? Because of the ball? Yeah, it was a bad ball given away. He worked to get in that position. He even had a beat, shouldn't have hit it there. The team still should have been able to have a better response to that goal, as you pointed out. But I think when you're looking at turning the ball over and the amount of touches that he's going to get, he's going to be in those positions where it happens. But it's happening a lot throughout the game. But the work effort and rate and ability to go from box to box and do those things that he's supposed to do as a midfielder are there to be seen. I sent the tweet about Mark's been playing very well, and someone, like they'll ever use it, old takes exposed. I'm like, really?
What?
I go, this doesn't change it. This was earlier in the game, obviously before it, but his performance and the reason Bob has him out there, who has a keen eye, is a testament to what he's doing. It's LAFC is not playing well. People have to play better. People have to stop turning the ball over. But this isn't a one-man job, and I see more out of him the good than the negative, and I think the stats will back that up time and time again. I just don't understand.
Well, okay, more than anything, what do we try to do on this podcast? Try to give you a bigger view. And it's not just because right now they're not doing well, so we try to give you a bigger view to make them look good. No, look, there's certain ways you can watch a game. And I think one is like the back to front way and the front to back way. Coaches watch it front to back, right? They kind of have to predict what's going on. They have to put the players on the right spots. Now, most fans, and there's nothing wrong with this. Again, watch games like this. This is the way 90% of people watch it, but you can get this analysis on Twitter, so that's not what we're here for. Most fans watch it from back to front. And by that, I mean,
that's interesting.
You see the result, you go and find those moments that led to it. So you see the result and you say, okay, how did we lose? Oh, Mark gave up a ball there. He must have been bad. And then you kind of look at another hockey reference. It becomes like plus minus.
Look, you've got to chill out with these hockey references.
But people love it. It becomes like plus minus. So plus minus is actually something that's not used in hockey much anymore. Basically, plus minus is how many goals you created on the ice, or how many times you were on the ice when a goal was created versus how many times you're on it when you guys gave up a goal. And that's a very okay metric to watch games and to kind of assess players. It just doesn't work that way. There's thousands upon thousands of events that happen in a match other than goals. And I understand that because there's so many, you're just floored by it, right? And so it's easier to zoom in on those 0.1% of what is going on in the game. But that's not what the coaches do. The coaches have to know much more. And that's why there's a lot more metrics coming out in soccer. This is the stuff that I enjoy. And again, people go, oh, it's not the only stats that matter is goals. Yes, I understand. End of the day, standings are what matter, trophies are what matter, and if you want to live that way, that's fine. We are trying to give you a wholer view of it, a more holistic view of it, and I would say this, plus minus on the day, Mark creates a goal, Mark gives up a goal, so he's at 0. All right, but
which you'll take.
Which you'll take. But he's getting hammered as if he's, to your point, he's the worst player on the team, and I'm looking at other metrics. Mark is in the 99th percentile for progressive passes, which in terms of a midfielder, do you know who the midfielder is that has more progressive passes than Mark?
Give me a second on this. Okay. Write a review while I'm thinking.
Below him is Edward Atuesta.
Wow.
Edward Atuesta. It's Carlos Gil.
Wow. Who
I would guess everyone's front runner for MVP at this moment, right? And so there's honestly, looking at the major things that you want a midfielder to do, Mark is 88th to 90th percentile and above. Like progressive. Not just progressive reception, progressive receiving. So receiving balls that move the ball 5 to 10 yards or more towards the opponent's goal. Mark is in the 94th percentile. And then if you don't love those stats, and I've said this on my thread, go on Football Ref and just play with the stats. They're really fun. They're all free. They come from StatsBomb. You know you can trust them. I'll say this. Having bad data is worse than having no data, but it comes from StatsBomb, so it's worth using. But there's some guys at American Soccer Analysis that do great work. And again, these are numbers guys, so If you want to rail on me for it's all about results, it's all about goals, all about standings, then don't go there. You want to learn a little bit more? Go there. They have a metric called G+, which is actually a pretty cool metric that it's machine learning. It's pretty cool to try to pull out basically what I said. There's thousands upon thousands of things that happen. And if we judge everybody on goals or goals given up, we'll know nothing. We'll know just a little bit about a couple players. So they use this metric called G+. Can I read the top 10?
But it's very interesting to see about the stats that everyone has to abide by and the moving of this sport towards it, and the great coaches who do really push it and accept that information successfully on a regular basis.
And
this
people have
sport
to do
is
it.
screaming for that, which it never used to.
And to the point that I was trying to make with the backwards watching, forwards watching, again, you're watching a game, you remember those big moments. I could sit with you. You're like, well, what about the eye test? Okay, let's come sit with me, and we'll watch hours upon hours of games, and I can point all these things out to you. This is what coaches have to do, and this is what they do. They a little bit of numbers, a lot of the eye test. I mean, Bob's recollection of the game is ridiculous. Like, and not just on goals. He's like, oh yeah, there was a moment where a guy could have dug a ball out. There was a guy streaking down the left side. There was another window open there, and instead he passed to the side. And you're like, that doesn't seem like a big deal. He's like, it's a very big deal. We could have scored a goal. So he's thinking of risk reward. What can we do? How can we push the pace? How can we take chances? How can we accept the risk, but understand that if we, in this moment, make that pass forward, the percentages of us scoring are much higher. So again, this G+ is basically trying to make sense of the thousands of moments. Can I read you the top 10 of, by the way, this is defensive midfielders, central midfielders, attacking midfielders. They kind of break down people down in position. I'll read you the top 10. G+ right now. Number 1, Carlos Gil. Number 2, Ali Bedoya. Number 3, Jack Price. Number 4, Atuesta. Wow. These are pretty good names that are the top of the list for midfielders in plus. So those top 4. Gadi Kinda, 5. Reynoso, 6. Wow, just all. Oh, hey, look names there. Mark-Anthony Kaye, 7th. 7th in goals plus. And this metric is pretty good. It like if you ran it through for last season, your MVP candidates are going to be up top. You ran it through for 2019. The metric reasons out a lot of things and just gets you kind of this boiled down to what happens in the game. And the biggest thing that I get from this is it also picks out the things that you do well. Mark's biggest attributes to the team: passing, interrupting, which is pressing, interceptions, and receiving the ball.
It's all there.
Which again is all there. And so you don't have to take these numbers, but these numbers help you understand a little bit more that there are thousands upon thousands of events in the game. And again, if you want to live a way that just breaks down from goals, that's fine. Like, but the podcast here, and people yell at us, this is literally what we're trying to do, is help you understand the game. Literally. So if that's not what you want, I mean, I know you told people to subscribe, but you might need to go somewhere else.
No, look, we give a lot more than just that. It's a great pod for a lot of reasons. And LAFC are in a bad spot. They have a lot of work to do. Currently in 9th place. There are so many positive signs, but there's some repeated negative signs that have to be alleviated. Mm-hmm. And now's a great time to do it. You kind of have a bit of a reset button for the season to get forward. There's a lot of mistakes being made.
But would you say a mental mistake where you're 2 yards from your byline can be erased a lot easier than recreating all the other things that Mark-Anthony Kaye does? Is it worth taking out the 50 to 100 other actions just because of one error? Yeah, if he's going to do it every single game, but he doesn't. It's not like it happens every single game where he plays a ball into a defender in that area and his teammates don't get to him. So I'm asking fans, like, I know you want to just you think that changes are what needs to happen, and you're right, but doesn't mean that it's player personnel wise. It changes in mentality, it changes in the way you train, changes maybe in philosophy. Hey, for guys right now, we're not in a good way. It's late in the game. Maybe just clear it out, learn that moment. It's incremental changes, and I get that you can't see those. That's done behind closed doors at training, but this is how football works. This is how it works at a high level.
Yeah. In defense of those folks, football works where it's a high-pressure situation, and they're going to be feeling that. They certainly are. Now, real quickly, the game-winning goal by Tajuri Shroudi, I watched over and over again, and it looked offside. It was offside. Just to give a background, so MLS does not use Hawkeye like they do in the Premier League, which I hate anyway.
Yeah, thank God.
Because it's too tedious and it doesn't have to be so perfect. Like, give the referees and the officials some wiggle room to say, okay. So the TV camera situation there was not as comprehensive as you would normally see. So
Well, you pull that curtain back, right?
Yes.
There's not extra cameras.
Right.
For VAR. VAR can only use the cameras that are on site for TV.
I still think they should have looked at that.
Maybe
said no.
And
But
maybe
if it's close enough, we'll give them the benefit.
And maybe in
the
the long term there should be some more cameras, maybe ones that we can't view, but VAR only has access to the TV cameras. And if there would have been a better angle, don't you think we would have saw that on the TV?
Yes, and if it was egregious, then obviously they get overturned. So unfortunately, that's the way it happens. I don't think people would have been happier if we were here talking about a 1-1 tie than a 2-1 loss. They would have been a little happier, but not a lot. It was disappointing to give up a goal and see the chance to get 3 massive points, which would have put you in the top 5 in the standings, but more so get the 2 wins going into this break with 2 more home games with the chance to really puff your chest out and move forward. But that's not going to happen at this point. So we'll put a bow on this game.
Yeah.
We'll come back and have we shall see. We're waiting on a guest.
Grab bag.
We'll grab bag. It could be a whole bunch of things, but
Could
we're
be a
waiting
guest,
here.
could be
It's a lot of
you
moving
and I.
parts.
Maybe we'll go deeper on the Champions League. Who knows?
Yes, we should do that. This is the Max and Vince podcast inside LAFC. Don't put your head down too much. Decompress. Take this time to spend some time with your family and your friends and enjoy the football. There's a lot of stuff going on. USA and Mexico playing this week. So get on with that. We can come back fresh and get ready to just restart the season. It's a long way to go, and it's a lot of good things can happen. We know LAFC are working hard to improve this team in a variety of ways, and that is something you're going to be seeing in the next few weeks. Okay, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Inside LAFC Max and Vince podcast. A reminder to subscribe and leave us a review. Do it today. Let us know how we're doing.
Why are you laughing?
Because I saw the red light on the camera there, and it wasn't there before, and we had to redo the segment.
Yeah, red light.
That's why I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that, but it's
red light means recording. Yeah, well, your laugh was just too obvious. I'm just trying to keep it lighthearted. After we had that segment was pretty deep.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it when we were watching the game. It was going to be tricky, but I'm confident things will get a lot better.
I'm sure everyone's going to hear it and just be like, "Man, those guys are thoughtful. Didn't think of it that way. Man, well, great." Or
I don't know about that.
No, probably not. We're probably going to get a lot incoming.
So we're going to take a little break from the podcast, but we'll be back
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now to really get it going again. Thank you for all the support. We were going to get a player in here. We're gonna put that off on hold because it's a strange week. So we'll have some players when we return as well. So we're going to take this opportunity to get you guys primed for the soccer of summer, or the summer of soccer.
Soccer of summer.
The summer of soccer.
I like soccer of summer.
I like it too. That's why I threw it out there.
Yeah.
A quick look back at what we saw this weekend. It was incredible because the league's ended. Things are supposed to slow down. We still have all these big tournaments coming up, and yet this weekend we had the end of Mexico, Cruz Azul winning the title. Congratulations after 24 years. I felt very happy for them. It felt, this nice cathartic moment, and they deserved it. When you're a team that good, always hovering around at the top, you should win one. My heart always aches for those teams like the Buffalo Bills, who are clearly the best team of these generations, but you're not going to be considered that unless you win one.
Yeah, maybe a lesson learned from LAFC. I mean, we defeated them. That was disappointing for them, and then they had other heartbreak. Actually, the heartbreak right before we defeated them. A lot of teams would crumble, especially under the weight of what they felt for the past 24 years. I think it's a really big deal, right? I mean,
it is
not just because it is 24 years and because they were a historically, traditionally big club, but like I said, a lot of times players don't want to. They're like, they jump ship. They're like, that was the closest we're gonna get. We're out. Sorry. New cycle, start again. But these guys hung in there, and they were playing some really good-looking soccer. I mean, there was this Liga was interesting. You got like Puebla and teams really punching above their weight, but like doing it in a big way.
That tournament always pans out well. You always have a compelling final. I mean, so many different teams have been in the final recently, but every time you watch it, it's a big deal. León and Pumas. Obviously, America.
Would you ever want to do that here?
Chivas won it a couple years ago, 3 years ago.
Like a 2? Do you think MLS would ever embrace that? The 2? No. It's interesting, though,
It's
right?
another level of explanation to the unaware American public, and they'll go, wait, there's 2 tournaments? But there's something to be said about that, which makes it work in the schedule. Plus, you would have to change your schedule a lot also. But all these Mexican teams that have kind of made it, there's always a compelling thing. I always hear these rumors that the League MX is kind of waning in interest. I don't see it. I mean, I'm more into it than I have been in recent years. The teams are good. The players are good. It's the stories are good. The personalities are compelling.
Same. And if you're MLS and you're watching that be compelling, and then also watching these Liga MX teams get a little bit better at their social media, both on the Spanish side and the English side, I would worry. I would worry because I think that's the next big hurdle for them. Is there's a generation of fans that are coming up that speak some Spanish but also speak a lot of English and prefer their news or their highlights in English. Ooh, if they grasp a hold of those before these MLS sides do.
It's interesting. It's going to be arms race for sure. So we had that Champions League final. A historic moment as Christian Pulisic comes in on the 66th minute.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah. No, it was it. But I thought Christian Pulisic should have started. But Thomas Tuchel does an incredible job. So we put a bow on that. And that's what the Champions League is for. It's a lot of times champions don't win it. Yeah, and you have to call Chelsea the best team on the planet right now, even though they finished fourth in England. But the expanded tournament allowed that. It was a weird game as Man City. It was
very tactical.
Yeah.
Man City was disjointed. Whatever Thomas Tuchel did, not whatever he did, I know what he did. He decided he was going to play a kind of a little bit more direct style and really mess up City's flow. And it did
he ever? And he's beaten them 3 times now in
incredible. 3 times in a row in a month and a half that's incredible.
Early in the second half, I was like, Man City's done.
Yeah.
This game's over. They don't look like a threat, and it was.
Yeah.
I should have tweeted that.
Yeah, you would have looked like a genius.
And then this is like the transition to the international game. The USA played Switzerland. Mexico played Iceland.
USA playing Switzerland. I get a text from my dad that says, man, this USA team looks really pedestrian. And I just write back, it's been a long season. Most of these guys are like, when can I go on vacation?
Yeah. Well, not any time. They're getting ready now for the Nations League.
I know. Well, that's why they're thinking, can I go on vacation before we hop? There was just nothing on the line, and they're all tired. I get it. But I do get the other side of it. It's like, do you want your spot in the Nations League? Do you want to be part of the trusted few that Greg Berhalter is going to have to use in this condensed cycle to qualify for the World Cup?
We're going to learn a lot about the U.S. team, and it's all been great. It's to see what they've been doing with their clubs, and when they have come together for their national team duty, it's been good. But we haven't seen Greg Berhalter win a big game. Granted, they're friends. You want to see him win a big game. This would have been a big game to win and kind of get, lay stock on this squad.
To be fair to him,
I'm worried. I am worried because it's still
But to be fair to him, this is the first chunk he's actually getting to actually spend some time with his first team, right? I mean, they haven't had consecutive camps with the same guys really at all.
The pressure will be on, and I think
of course
that Thursday,
when you don't qualify for a World Cup, the pressure's on.
I think it'll get ramped up if they lose to Honduras in this Nations League semifinal, because that's a game they should win, and then to lose that at home, they'll be like, oh boy, and then things could get a little sideways here real quick.
Agree. They have to make the final. Whatever happens in the final, you would like to win it. You'd assume it's going to be you and Mexico, but finals are finals. They can
just get the final.
Just get to the final.
Lose to Mexico, but get there.
Yeah, I always say, I mean, almost every high-level coach says, just get to the final. We can figure it out from there. Any team can lose a final. It happens. We saw it with Man City. They clearly should have been the better team. They weren't able to pull it off. But to your point, if they don't reach the final, ooh.
And look, what a great opportunity to get everyone really excited about USA-Mexico, about what lies ahead in 2021, and even the World Cup at that early stage. To see that movement to move towards it is a good feeling. And I'd hate to sit there on Sunday and we're playing Costa Rica in the third-place game going, oh, jeez.
Oh, God. Dude, imagine how dour of a game that would be, third-place game.
Not good.
Ooh.
Unless it's Mexico
Why
in the third-place game.
Why do they do third-place games besides money?
Money. Speaking of money, I think Mexico would be better equipped if they had some of these friendlies in Mexico as opposed to going for the money and playing them in the United States.
It's the Brazil model. How many
Texas.
times does Brazil play in Brazil other than the qualifiers that they're forced to play in Brazil?
It's true. It's the traveling show.
Yep.
There's a lot of money. But I think for their prospects in a World Cup, those games matter when you get to go. Imagine going to Iceland.
Also, it's silly. I mean, come on. Imagine you live in Guadalajara and you just want to see the Mexican national team. You're not going to travel to Dallas. Like, come on, man. I just want to see, the thing that I aspire to be if I'm a 10-year-old kid. I want to see it in my home stadium. I want to be able to reach out and touch it.
I'm saying, play these games over in Europe so you can test there and get that.
Oh, you mean really get?
Yeah.
But the style of play so different. You do want to play. Well, they played Iceland, so What do I know?
The good times are over for Iceland. So we have this summer now, which is going to begin now with the Nations League, and then we'll go
Soccer
on.
of summer.
Soccer of summer.
2021.
Print the shirts. So we have the Euros, June 11th, Copa.
June
Gold
11th
Cup.
starting with Italy versus Turkey.
Italy, Turkey.
Excited about that.
Yes.
That Italy team's pretty good. But problem is, there's a lot of good teams. A lot of good young teams in this
People
Euros.
talked about the expansion of the Euros and how it was going to water it down. I don't see it. I'm like, those groups look really compelling. The only thing is you're only eliminating 8 teams in the group stages.
Yeah,
but,
the only thing now is my math skills are being pushed to the absolute test with the third place. I don't even know how it's going to all work. What do you think about the? They're still going to do a little bit of different cities and move around.
Yep.
You like it?
Nope.
No. Me neither. I always like
think
one.
even now
I always
with
like
the
one host
pandemic was
country.
a
Everyone
time.
comes together.
Yeah.
It's good to go. It's good to go there and you meet with them and you learn about their culture a little bit and then you kind of all arm in arm go to the games, and sometimes you go to games that you don't even care about because you just want to hang out with whoever the host people are and
Cracking beer gardens all over the country.
Yeah.
But now it's like there's games, in Azerbaijan and, in England. And it's very far away from it. So I thought maybe the pandemic would get us back to normal. I hope we have those nations, maybe co-hosting, but the whole European thing doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'm sure it does to UEFA. So it's and it's going to be a 32-team tournament before too long. So enjoy it while it is. It's going that direction. But that's going to be going on the Gold Cup, the Copa America. That'd be big news if we actually see some Copa America games, and then we'll go in the World Cup qualifying. So you're most excited about the Euros?
I am most excited about the Euros. Just there's so much young talent. I mean, you look at the France team, the Belgian team. Obviously, England's very good. I mean, this is like you said, they expanded, but man, it didn't look like it watered it down at all. I mean, Italy plays Turkey. I was telling you, Turkey looks good. They have a lot of good young defenders. Yilmaz playing great with.
Yilmaz hoping to get some goals at 35.
Yeah, he can still do it. Did it for Lille at a high level. So. It's incredible. I like seeing, and then I was even telling you that French under-21 team, I feel like could compete at this Euros. Like the French are stacked. Don't tell me England has the best young talent. The French are stacked.
No, France, Belgium, Portugal, then maybe England.
England fighting it out, yeah.
England kind of in there. Some interesting little smaller nations there. Scotland is in there, which will be compelling, even more so in a non-pandemic year where you have the Tartan Army traveling through Baku, Azerbaijan. Aye. Can I get frosty cold beer in Baku?
You get that from Braveheart. That's a very good Braveheart.
If he were here, he'd consume the English.
It's like a mix between Braveheart and Stevie Nickel.
Macedonia or North Macedonia.
Danny Musovski's own.
Yes.
No, he ended up not taking.
Didn't get called up. That'd been cool. But that's a
from
team that could.
What I heard was it was the call before the call. It was the hey, would you be even interested in the call?
That's still great.
No, it is great for him, but.
So I'm picking Portugal to repeat.
Really?
I think it's impossible to predict here.
It is
because of that group. You have Portugal, Germany, and France in the same group. And Hungary. And Hungary hosts a couple games. Not just but Hungary. But Hungary's going to spoil it for somebody.
So who does Portugal play in the final for you?
I have to look at the bracket, but just off the top of my head,
But would it even matter? There's third place teams. People go everywhere, right?
Yeah,
so,
it's very hard.
I mean, it could very well be France versus Portugal.
There you go. Repeat.
And repeat for Portugal.
Repeat of the final, too.
Sorry, repeat of the final, too. Yeah, because France won that one.
No, France lost that one.
Or lost
4 years ago.
I don't even know where we are anymore.
Soccer of summer.
Soccer of summer. Oh, man. Rough
So
day.
enjoy it all. But we'll be back in a couple weeks, and we'll get back into covering LAFC and a lot to look forward to. This season is still unfurling, and for everything that has happened badly against LAFC, they're in a position where they can get right back into those spots. It's 34 games, and what are we into? 7, 8 games?
7. Yeah, there's still 75% of the season to go. I mean,
things going to change. We'll see what happens with Brian. Brian, who's in the promotion.
Going to play in the playoffs, promotion playoffs. We'll
with
see.
Almeria taking on Girona.
Ooh.
I was excited. I thought the promotion started this week because he started a game and played almost the whole game. Like, oh, that's the final game of the season. It didn't really matter as much. But hey, remember, we got to be friends. We got to be fans of Almeria.
We are fans of Almeria.
And we'll see, because
that's a
something's going to happen in
sticky
July.
subject. Yeah, well, I guess when we come back in 2 weeks, we'll know a lot more about the Brian Rodriguez saga.
So we'll get you. Enjoy all the games. Enjoy the game Sunday as USA beats Mexico in Nations League at altitude at Mile High. Vince LaRosa, Max Predos, wrapping up another Inside LAFC MVP podcast. We'll see you in 2 weeks.